My name is Tom Poiber. I live here in Pine Ridge, South Dakota. Not in the community, but I live out east of Pine Ridge on my father's property out here. The late Enos Poiber. I'm one of his 5 sons, and I've been here in Pine Ridge off and on probably for the last since 1976. But I've always come home. We lived in town in Pine Ridge, but we've been living out here in the country, here on my father's property for the last 5 years. I've 2 years ago I was elected to sit on our tribal council, so I'm part of tribal government now. I sit on the Economic and Business Development Committee, which is a committee that tries to create economic development here. Since our nation here, over 80% is unemployed. We are a poverty-stricken area, so we're doing economic development as far as trying to invite businesses down here, try to build business relationships, maybe with other tribes that are doing well with their casinos and other business ventures that they're on. I also sit on the HHS committee, which is the Health and Human Services. I sit on that committee because of the health problems that my people have here. As far as cancer, we have a very high rate of cancer. We have a very high rate of diabetes, and with our IHS hospital here. A lot of outdated medicine is still given out to our people, so it was a great concern of mine of the health of the people. I chose those 2 committees because I felt they were very important to the future of our people here. I'll give a brief history of myself. I'm what you would call a relocation baby. Back in the 50s and early 60s, a lot of the people from the Pine Ridge, and I'm sure other reservations. In fact, I really hate to call our lands here reservations. I'd like to look at it as our nations, because we are a nation within a nation. But we were moved away from we were relocated from our nation here, the Oglala Lakota Nation, where the BIA relocated us to try to teach our parents, our grandparents, a trade. And in so doing that, they took us away from our lands. And when they did that, a lot of non-Indian ranchers came in, and right now they are probably the largest landowners, or they have a lot more control of our lands than the tribe does, than our people does. We came back here to the Oglala Lakota Nation back in the early 60s, but there was still no jobs available, so my parents, we migrated to the fields in Nebraska, where they worked on the farms down there. I also helped with my parents on the farms, hoeing the sugar beets, the beans, picking potatoes. I can still smell them potato salads to this day. But about 1968, we came back to the Oglala Lakota Nation, and I was placed in a boarding school. I was put in boarding school in my 8th, 9th, and 10th and 11th grade year. In 1973, 1972. A lot was going on. An organization came here to the Pine Ridge, the American Indian Movement, because of the treaty violations, the water rights, and a lot of unsolved murders that were happening even at that time. They came to support the Oglalas and to assist us in bringing attention to what was happening to the Lakota people. Because so the American Indian Movement came on request of the family and the elders and the traditional chiefs at that time. And I was in boarding school then, and there was a lot of rallies going on at a building in Pine Ridge called Billy Mills Hall. And out of curiosity, I went down there. And the American Indian movement was there, their leadership, and I heard him talking of the treaty violations, of how Lakota people, well, not just Lakota people, but other indigenous peoples' rights were being violated. And it really caught my attention because in boarding school, they never taught us of our history. Even the Catholic churches that our people attended, they looked down as our ancestors as savages and pagans. And I remember in boarding school one time they showed me a picture of George Washington. And they said, "Mr. Poor Bear, this is the father of your country." So I looked at this picture of George Washington, and I seen a white man wearing a white wig. He had a fluffle blouse, he had pedal pushers, and high-heeled shoes. And I thought to myself, this could be my daddy, my father. But that's what was put into our heads. They never told us of our great leaders of the past, of Sitting Bull, of Gall, of Crazy Horse, of Red Shirt, of Spotted Tail, of Geronimo, that they also were strong leaders within their tribes, and that they was also well-respected people, as we would put the great white fathers, the presidents of this United States. But they never taught us of our culture, of our history, that we had also very great people, we had honorable people. But the American Indian movement told us how great we were and how great our people were, how respectable our people were. And all boarding school taught me, even with Abraham Lincoln, of how he got rid of slavery. But the American Indian movement had another story of Abraham Lincoln where he ordered one of the largest mass hangings in the history of the United States, where he hung 38 Sioux people in Mankato, Minnesota, in front of their families, in front of their children, their mothers, their sisters, their fathers, their grandparents, the largest mass hanging. They brought the pride out in the indigenous people, not just the Lakota people, but that we are someone, that we are a people, and we should be treated as such. So I really listened to their words, and then shortly after the Yellow Thunder incident, where we marched, in fact, boarding school even let us out to march into Gordon with the American Indian movement and other Lakota people of this tribe, and our traditionalists, and our women, our elders, everyone. And after that, the American Indian movement organized the Trail of Broken Treaties to Washington, D.C., right shortly after the incident with Yellow Thunder, and that was in 1972. So I ran away from boarding school, and I joined the American Indian movement, and we caravaned to Washington, D.C. and took over the BIA building there because of the trust responsibility that the BIA had to the tribes, and they wasn't, that trust responsibility was not being done as far as taking care of our lands, taking care of our health, taking care of our education. They was getting money for it, but it wasn't coming to us.